even what he was saying was so genuine and heartfelt. I think that it was coming from a place of like, yeah, I'm gonna win this Oscar. When I win it, 2 more kids on the road. So
More kids.
but
If it's a boy, they might call it Oscar.
they better have twins though.
And if it's the second child, another girl, Oskeen. Osket.
Hey, welcome to T and J Taking Over the World.
I'm T.
And I'm Jay.
And we're taking over the world of love, relationships, and personal development, one episode at a time. We are not experts, far from it, but we have been together. How long have we been together? Roughly
24 years, but 21, almost 21 years married.
Yeah, she's the one who looks at the dates and remembers all those things. I'm in the doghouse, I forget. Even though we're not experts, but we've made our mistakes. We've done our time on the clock. So from those nuggets, those triumphs, and most importantly, those epic failures, we, within reason, we don't put all of our business out on blast on social media, but we will share some nuggets on what we've gone through, our genuine lived experience. Because everyone's in a relationship, everyone's talking about relationship, everyone's a relationship expert, but they're not necessarily credible in terms of miles on the clock. And they want to show you the best life, the showmans, where we will show you warts and all, and what's available on a PG-13 show. Family friendly. Keep it family friendly.
2 decades.
We may not have been on an island, we may not have met on an island, but we've been in love for over 2 decades. So we can teach them a thing or two. Not about brand deals though, can we? We ain't got a single brand deal to our name.
Not right now.
Yeah, they can teach us about, showmances and business and how to milk every romantic bone out of their relationships and market themselves, But we can teach them how to, have IRL in real life. What are we talking about today, Mrs.?
I know there was the Oscars was on last night. Did you feel like watching it?
Considering I grew up watching the Oscars, so it was always a big thing. There's an instinct in me to turn over and watch the Academy Awards, watch the Oscars. I used to watch it with my dad when I was growing up in the 80s. And then
to watch it?
Yeah, even as a kid, like on a school night or at least, as much as you can. Yeah, it was a big deal back in the day.
Wow.
The Oscars was a big deal.
Oh, wow.
Well, it was not just for those who were film fans. It was mainstream TV. It was a mainstream event. I know it's hard to think that now because it's just so changed.
Yeah, I didn't watch it growing up.
Not at all?
No, I didn't watch Oscars growing up at all.
Oh, wow.
I know. Yeah.
So,
I guess it's...
Why? Is that like your...
It just wasn't on.
Not in your
I guess it wasn't something my grandparents would put on. So
Hmm.
it wasn't really an interest, so it's not something I watched. And obviously I didn't have a TV in my room until a certain age. I think when I was 19 I got a TV in my room.
Oh,
No, 16 or 17, something like that.
okay. So, other than talking about the Oscars that we didn't watch, even though we did watch the Kieran Culkin speech, I think Kieran Culkin's speech and the fallout of it, both those who were endeared by it and those who were a little bit like, a bit too much information about it, has inspired us on these particular topics, which are...
Yeah, one of the topics we're going to be talking about today is how many kids to have and how society and how couples are affected by what society may say or think. And also the second one is, when is the right time to have the kids? Is there a perfect time? Is there a time to have the bigger house or have a certain amount of cash in your pocket?
Oh, the money.
Yeah.
If that was the case, we would have had zilch kids, because if we had to have an abundance of money and everything in place, it's like we would have been like those who would have just basically not really had any children.
We literally it'd just be me and you right now. Just T and J.
Just the two of us.
I mean, we'd have...
I won't sing more in case of copy strike.
we would have had a lot of freedom if it was just like me and you. Do you think we'd probably travel loads and travel all over the world, go to different countries? You see couples do that, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've got to be careful because we're at least, one of our kids is in earshot. Yeah, if we didn't have them, life would be a party. I'm joking. I know. What do you think? Because I remember when like, let's talk about, so Kieran Culkin joked about, in fact, do you want to read the article?
Yeah.
And we found an article says exactly what Kieran Culkin, Academy Award winner for Best Supporting Actor Kieran Culkin, Macaulay's little brother, Man About Town, said about at his speech. So
yeah, he says, about a year ago, I was on a stage like this and I very stupidly, publicly said that I won a third kid from her because she said if I won the award, she would give me the kid. It turns out she said that because she didn't think I was going to win. But then people came up to her and were like, really annoying her. I think it's got to her. But anyway, after the show, we're walking through a parking lot. She's holding the Emmy. We're trying to find a car. Emily, you were there. So you're a witness. And she goes, oh, God, I did say that. I guess I owe you a third kid. And I turned to her and said, really? I want 4. And she turned to me. I swear to God this happened. It was over a year ago. She said, I'll give you 4 when you win an Oscar. And I held my hand and out. And she shook it and I've not brought it up until... I haven't brought it up once until just now. Oh, yeah.
So he's like this and on his deals. Yeah. I know those type of deals, those sort of handshakes. It's like, I promised. You gave me a promise.
No.
Got to come through with it. There's the receipts. And clearly now, and he's smart because now he kind of put it out there in front of the entire world on the biggest platform there is. So everyone's waiting. They're like, where's this kid? Where are these kids popping out? And unless they're twins, he's
got lots of more kids.
It's like,
Whenever you
promised me a kid or 2 if I won. Now who's in charge? Yikes. So what do you think about that?
Yeah.
A bit of revelation, wasn't it, about their private life?
Yeah, it's a bit of a revelation. That's kind of the oversharing. Something else.
Like we talked about recently, oversharing on or not social media. This is bigger than that. This is
in front of all the industry.
The Oscars. Yeah.
The Oscars is the biggest award ceremony.
Yeah, biggest award ceremony on the planet.
Bigger than the Grammys, bigger than all the others. The best, actually.
Biggest and best, though. It's obviously not what it used to be. But anyway, about what he said and stuff, what do you think the concept, first and foremost, about the pinky promise of more kids? You're a male, so I have a different perspective from a woman's perspective. I mean, how does that make you feel?
Obviously, they're in agreement about having more kids because some women are like, oh, no, I don't want even more kids. But obviously, they've got 2, right? So there's 2 more before. But obviously, there's something that they've already spoken about anyway.
Yeah.
So it's an agreement between both of them. But it's fine.
But he made a joke about this, and on the night, he's like, he said, ye of little faith.
Mm.
Do you think she said, yeah, sure, 2 more kids because she didn't seriously think he was going to win an Oscar? Because when you think about it, it's very remote winning an Oscar. Like the odds are stacked against you.
Yeah.
There's some big heavy hitters. It's a very competitive award.
Yeah.
So she thought, yeah, I'll give you 20 kids if you win. And it's like, oh, cripes, he actually won. Like, what do I do? I wasn't expecting him to win an Oscar, and now he has, and now I've promised him 2 extra kids. So do you think she was assuming that there's no way he was going to win, especially young actor like him?
She might have been I reckon she might have been genuine about it, because maybe she did want 2 more kids. Maybe she did believe in her husband that much that he's going to win.
No, she'll say that now.
Yeah, but then,
typical woman, she'll be like, oh, yeah, of course I believed in you, boo. I believed every step of the way. Where he's like, yeah, right. It's just because now you got caught out. I am good. I am that good.
No, I think they're genuine. I think because, even what he was saying was so genuine and heartfelt. I think that it was coming from a place of I'm going to win this Oscar. When I win it, 2 more kids on the road.
More kids.
But
if it's a boy, they might call it Oscar.
They better have twins, though.
And if it's the second child, another girl, Osket. Here you go, Osket.
Oscar.
Or Academia. Acadet. Awardette. I don't know, I'm making it up now. So, I mean, what strikes me about this particular story is I think, obviously, I thought it was funny, a funny speech. I'm sure there are people on the internet you can scroll through who are offended. Like, oh, how crass to bring up, put her on the spot like that and say you want extra kids, or it's her body. Why would she just shouldn't be asking in the first place? I'm like, they clearly don't know how marriage works.
You can have how many kids you want, to be honest. No one can dictate how many children you want. Exactly. So it's like if someone was to say, I'm sure there are people that said, "Oh, you just be happy with the 2 kids, two more." Who said two? But who has the rules? You can have 20 kids if you want. You can have 18 kids. You can have how many kids you like. No one can tell you what to do.
So what's your experiences? Because obviously we've got 3, which in the West is like you might as well have 20. Because isn't it like 2.4 is the norm. So anything above 2 children, usually a boy and a girl, people start giving you hello. It's like side eye, like hello. Like, are you sure, mate? Are you sure? Are you sure? So obviously, when it came to the third, I mean, you know, because you're British. So when you came to the third child, I mean, what's your experience? Because obviously you're the one carrying.
Yeah.
What was your experience of what people thought about children?
One of my experiences wasn't a great one. It was quite negative. And I remember when I felt that I was pregnant with my third child, my son, and the lady was like saying to me, my girls were small then, they came with me and she said, "Oh, you don't need any more children. You've got your two lovely daughters here. You don't need any more." I'm like thinking, huh?
Mm-hmm.
That's a bit weird. Is that even allowed? Are they even allowed to say that?
What?
Huh? I was a bit like shocked.
So what, you're supposed to put the new baby in the bin?
And
Well, we know what, we'll keep it PG-13, but we know what they're implying.
I was just surprised at the time that someone from, practitioner,
medical practitioners, nurses
are allowed to say stuff like that to expectant mothers.
And they say something else as well.
Well, the doctor said, this is the doctor now. The doctor said to me, when I was pregnant with my son, finally, because I did have a few and it wasn't showing up on the pregnancy test, he said, "Oh, what are you going to do about it?"
Mm.
I said, I just looked at her just quickly. I just said in my first response that, "Oh, I'm married." But I think because I look really young for my age, at the time I was at 27, she's probably thinking, "Oh, no."
Should that matter though? Because what if you were 18 or 16, 17, 19, 19?
Yeah,
should it matter how old you are when someone is, a professional is talking you through the process of the fact that you're going to have a baby? Why would the first thing they'd be was like seeing it as a negative? How did you feel?
I think I felt at the time, I was even, again, because that situation obviously came after the other one, the first one I spoke about. And again, I was shocked. I was like, what? They could ask you that. What are you going to do about it? That's the first thing I said to her. I'm a married woman. This is my ring and stuff, my engagement ring, my wedding ring. That's like, I'm not going to... You're
going to stick your hand out like a...
Yeah, my engagement ring's not on it.
Oh, yeah. That's a
story.
That's a story for another day, folks.
So I won't even mention that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but yeah, I was even shocked at that because that came after the first incident. But I was just shocked how why would you even ask me that? Because at the end of the day, if I wanted to do something else, I would have mentioned that. But obviously I'm here to keep my child.
Yeah.
But that was just something that she said immediately after seeing the positive test.
So did you assume then that there was a pressure, there was a sense of, imagine if you were younger, more impressionable, do you feel that there was a pressure to maybe consider options where you don't have the child?
If I was younger,
you felt like if you were younger, do you think they would have been a bit more? Did you get the feeling that they were not you? Yeah, they were. Do you feel? No, yeah. Do you feel? Well, not they gave. Do you feel they would have put more pressure on you?
Yeah. I definitely think so. If I said I wasn't married or something, and then I was a single mom and I was younger, then that might have been a different situation.
That's so bad, isn't it? It's horrible.
Really bad. 'Cause at the end of the day, number one, with the first incident, you can have as many children as you want to. I could have 5, 6 by now if I wanted to. And then the second incident, so ask that question immediately after having seen a positive pregnancy test. She didn't even say congratulations.
Wow.
It's like, it's like on a tick list.
Yeah, it's just nasty. Yeah. I mean, obviously, taking care of your children. Yeah, I was furious when you told me. I was furious because I was like, how dare you turn a happy confirmation, a happy occasion into something, even question it as being something that you want to get rid of. Like, do you want to flush the toilet? Do you see it as a negative? It was like, how dare you?
Yeah.
Like, they should follow your cue. If you're happy about it, they should be happy about it. If you're upset about it, they can console you at the day.
It's up to the you know, at the end of the day, I chose to have a child. And I think with these medical practitioners, they should like not have to say that to certain people.
Yeah, an opinion.
I mean, obviously, everyone's entitled to their own opinion, but I think it is going by the book, basically. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, and I think
Going by the book.
Yeah, I mean, we could go into some.
There was another incident as well. But to tell you is that I remember when my son, because that's when they brought out the Down syndrome
Yeah.
test, and she said, "Oh, do you want a Down syndrome
Test.
test?" I said, "No, supposed to be fine." You said, "You sure? You don't want a Down syndrome test?"
It's almost like they want an excuse for you to say, "I don't want this third child," which is horrible. And I know we started off light-hearted with the Kieran Culkin thing, jibing his wife, but the bigger issue, and we've got experiences which we're sharing, and maybe you've got experience that you can relate to this, is society has this weird thing about how many children you have. Even if you can afford them. There's that show, isn't it? 22 kids and counting?
Yeah. It's 22 kids.
22 kids? Yeah, tell them about the show in case they haven't heard about it.
A show called 22 Kids and Counting. And the couple's coming from, they were both adopted. Is it fostered or adopted? Yeah, adopted. They never knew their biological family. I think they have a deep-seated need to keep having children. So they've got children from the ranges of life in the 20s.
Late 20s to like
20s.
toddler or something?
2 or something like that. But the thing is, she's good with them. They're both good. They're great. They're organised. They've got their own business. They're able to look after their kids. So that's fine. But she's organised.
They take care of business.
Organised. Like, I could not, for me, 22 kids, no, not for me.
We struggled with 2.
I struggled.
Then 3.
I struggled with 1 when we just had our first. I thought having 1 child was hard. And then the second, okay, you're trying to get, you know, that's an adjustment.
1 child.
Third, and then the third, easy.
Yeah. Helped he was a chilled out dude.
Yeah.
The third one. That's chilled out.
Boy, so was he
In undemanding. Non-dramatic.
I think if we had our second child,
Yeah.
that would have been hard.
They don't watch this, so we can throw them under the bus all day long. It's too cringe. That's the beautiful thing of having teenagers. I think your stuff is too cringe, they won't watch it, so we can say anything we want about them.
But yeah, I mean, what do you think about having 20? I mean, the balance of 20.
Goodness me, it's a job. It's a full-time job. No, not particularly. I think, I'm a big fan, as you know, of the Jacksons. So I think the idea of maybe 9 would be the most.
9?
Yeah, not now. With Mr. Bo, back in the day, 9 kids, create a family band, and live off their exploits.
She just reminded me about something how many kids, because I remember one time my neighbour knocked on my door when we lived a few years ago, and she was like, "How do you carry?" This is just when I had the girls, so this is 2 children, and she was like, "How do you comb your hair? How do you have time to comb your hair? How do you do anything?" I said,
"How do you comb your hair?"
She's.
How do you comb your hair?
Yeah, how do you find time? Basically, how do you find time?
Oh, yeah, I got that. Was like...
Yeah. How do you find time to comb your hair? She said. I said, I just get on with it. I mean, I wasn't able to have too much time to do makeup and stuff like that because obviously my children came first at the time.
Yeah.
Especially when you were away, the baby was small, baby and 3-year-old.
Yeah.
No, 2-year-old and a baby. Yes. And but she would look at me.
Sounds like a movie title.
Then again, she had 1 child. So I sort of started to remember what it was like when I just had 1. Because any mother who has just 1, they're always like, "Oh my gosh," because it is hard work just having 1. Because you're getting used to having just a 1, and it's a learning curve.
Mm-hmm.
And she look at me with these 2 kids, and I'm thinking,
"How's she doing
it?" Yeah, just hiding under the covers. That's what I was thinking.
Wasn't there someone we knew that was like, would go past you if this one go, "Oh, how can I help you?" And I'm so sorry for you. Like, what?
No, it's like she felt sorry for me with these 3 kids because obviously I'd have 1 in the sling.
Yeah.
And I'd have 1, the youngest in the sling, and then the 2 girls in the double buggy.
So hang on, we had 3 under 3 at one point, wasn't it? No,
never had 3 under 3.
3 under 4, sorry. 3 under 4.
Yeah.
So 4 to 0.
Yeah.
Maths is
so that's the point. Yeah. So I guess I can understand how that would look.
Mm-hmm.
Especially you've got your shopping, and we didn't drive at that time.
Yeah.
So it's just like oh my gosh, how did she do it? Because one was wondering how am I managing. Oh, do you want me to babysit? Do you want me to help you out? I'm thinking, I don't need you to feel sorry for me. I'm perfectly fine. Also,
It was a
I
choice.
made a decision to have these children, and look, they're big now.
Yeah.
It's fine. I'm alive still. I survived it.
So yeah, there's definitely, we're alive, and they'll look after us in old age. I'm alive. They'll look after us in theory. This is my theory. They'll look after us in old age. So, they're an investment. I wiped your bums all those years ago. I put food on the table. Bed rent, and didn't pay rent. I feel it's a weird one because there are countries that have a low birth rate.
Yeah.
Like Japan and stuff like that, and China now.
Kids.
Before they used to sort of be like, no, one kid only, and then it's their birth rate sort of tanked.
Yeah.
And I think the reality is you've got those who always says too many people on the planet, but actually the planet's very big. It's just that it may not all be spread out. And then also people are short-sighted because the burden, there's more people are living longer.
Yeah.
So they're going to be old for a long time. And you're not going to have, who's going to be looking after this large number? There's going to be more elderly people than young people. So it's going to be a real burden on those young people. And obviously, there is something practical about when you have a large family, because the family would look after you in old age, and then things like passing down wealth through family. Yeah. The strength of any nation, civilization, and people is the family. Is the nuclear family.
Sometimes people don't realize how much a family is powerful. It's like the family is powerful for the community to strive to bring wealth into the community, to make the community stronger and better. People don't have that mindset and that frame of mind to think that. They just think, the burden of having children. Whereas children don't even stay small for long.
They don't. And those years go by. I mean, the years of running after toddlers and changing their nappy and cleaning up after them, even though it felt like an eternity at the time, it's so long ago now and it's gone so fast.
Okay, that's why I always say to mums that enjoy the milestones of the small children. Take loads of pictures from them because they change dramatically. Before you know it, they'll be teenagers.
Yeah, mutating.
It's hard work though. I can't lie, it was hard work. Because you at work all the time and then I was at home.
Yeah, I
was just like, in the daytime obviously.
Yeah.
And the nighttime you come home, but it was really hard work.
Yeah.
Because it was like, you got to have a routine, and so I had to be organised, have story time, and read to them, bath time, and then bed. And when they're in bed, I was like,
So what would you say to people who would maybe judge? There was a time when you used to walk around, because we weren't drivers, you'd go around on public transport with the buggy, the pushchair, with the 3 children, double buggy, and then there was like the little board at the back with the elder one standing on top.
Yeah.
How did you...
We didn't have one of those.
I think we did. Anyway, for the sake of it.
Yeah.
How did that make you feel sometimes when you kind of got the looks? Because you had like 3 small children. Yeah. And I remember catching looks when I was with you. So imagine what you're like. How did you feel when you're on your own, when people are maybe looking?
Yeah, I felt like maybe people judged me as well because I looked really young for my age. And so they're probably just assuming that, that teenage mum or something, she's really young, she had these kids. Because even with that older, some people say to me, how come your daughter so, what age did you have her then? I had her when I was 24. So I wasn't a teen mum. It's just that I looked really young for my age.
But like I said earlier though, should it matter that if you were a teen mum, I mean, obviously it's not ideal, morality and opinions aside, just practically because, there are setbacks in life that it makes sense that you're established as an adult to be able to deal with that and also to be able to resource the situation.
Yeah.
But let's put all that to one side. You are a single mum. The fact that in the scenario, the fact that people would treat you that way, why should it matter whether you are or not? That you feel away. How did it make you feel?
Yeah, I think sometimes it made me feel bit like they were judging as well, especially if I like went in the bus or anything like that with the sling, and then I've got the other two in fact, door buggy. Most of the time, I couldn't even get on the bus anyway because it was so packed out.
Drive by.
Exactly. So I'd have to actually. I told the eldest at the side, hold their hand, and then one in the sling, and then one in the single stroller we used to have.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I used to go around.
That's how you rolled.
Yeah, that's how I rolled. But most of the time, sometimes I didn't even go on the bus because I felt it was too crowded anyway. So we just walk it to places. Not walking, but people just used to give me the side eye a lot. Didn't notice the side eye, and probably a lot of judgments as well.
So what would you say if you were on that bus, on that train, and you saw people kind of giving the, passive aggressive vibes to that young woman with the 3 kids or 4 kids? Some might even say things. There was times you hear about people who say, shut that kid up or be very rude. What would you do? Would you interject? Would you stick up for what would you want to, what would you?
Actually, I would say something because I would remember the times when people, not that I heard anything, but I sort of picked up on what people probably could have been saying. So I would definitely stick up for that. I'd be an advocate for that young woman because I remember what it would feel like, what it felt like at the time with my kids when they were small, younger, looking after 3 children. I would definitely say something. I won't be quiet about it because I feel that someone would have to stick up for her because she might be someone who would say anything. Or she might be someone that says something, but maybe she wasn't.
Yeah.
I'd like some support. I'd also remember the times when I was in a situation as well, so I could fully relate. Because when I do see actually mums and they've got the 3 kids or the 2 kids, whatever. Oh, remember the time when my kids were really small like that.
Yeah.
It was hard work and everything.
Yeah. Remember the time when you were Pharaoh's wife in Egypt, and I came in. Do you remember, girl? Came in. Remember the time?
Oh.
You said it about 3 times. I was thinking, message. I come in, do a spin, turn into gold dust, bounce. Me and you, 3 kids.
And to be fair though, Tony, think about it, yeah. 3 kids isn't even a lot of children.
It's not.
Because people look at me feeling sorry for me, person needs to feel sorry for me. I'm thinking, no, do you realise that 3 children isn't a lot of children?
So if you're watching Mrs. Culkin, Jazz, it's going to be okay. Yeah, it's only going to be 4 kids in total.
Yeah, 4 kids.
It's not that much. It's only 2 more than the average.
Yeah, once you get to 8, 9,
stop complaining.
Then that's a lot.
Yeah, you got an Oscar. Obviously, Kieran's doing all right money-wise in that Hollywood money. Good enough. Get an au pair.
Be all right.
Get a living nanny.
Living nanny anyway.
Yeah, exactly. You wouldn't even be wiping their bottoms anyway. You just I won an Oscar. My husband won an Oscar, so he can come work for me and look after our 4 kids.
4 kids ain't even a lot. I don't know. It's easy.
It's nothing that. It's not easy, but it's not
easy. But it's not a lot of children. I think once you get to maybe 8 or 9, no 7. No, probably 6.
5. I'd say is a lot.
5 and more. 5 and up.
Yeah, 5 and up is a lot.
Yeah, 5 and up. I mean, Joseph and Catherine, they had 9 kids. That's a lot of
John G. The Jacksons.
That's a lot.
They always a reference for us when it comes to big families, and if you're going to have a big family, have one that is a dynasty that is great. Great contribution to the world, and that's the other thing. You don't know what that little one is going to grow up to be. You don't know. Imagine, in that case, it was the 7th child, 7th or technically 8 because they lost one. That was the one that is the 3rd or 2nd or 3rd most known person on the planet. Yeah. Jesus is number 1 in terms of the most infamous and most famous person on the planet. I think Michael Jackson's 2 or 3. Which ain't bad going, considering all the people that live now, the billions, and all the people that have ever lived. Can you imagine, your son, a mere mortal, is probably the 3rd most known person on the planet. You can go to sort of hut somewhere and go, oh yeah, Michael Jackson. So it's a funny old one. So you don't know how many. Can you imagine if they stopped at 2?
Exactly, there would have been no Jacksons, would there?
No Jackson 2 doesn't quite doesn't have quite a ring to it, does it? The Jackson 2.
Even the Silvers, look how many of them there were. They weren't as obviously famous as the Jackson.
That's a deep cut. The Silvers are family.
They able to form a band, and if we had more kids, it would have been form a band.
That's what we're talking about. That's why we lament having more than 3 kids, because we wanted to form a family band and live off the proceeds, like I said. So that was Kieran talking. So Kieran and Jazz, congratulations first and foremost, Kieran, for the Oscar win. That is a big achievement. And congratulations for the pitter-patter of tiny feet in maybe 9 months' time. Who knows?
Pray that shows they have twins then.
Sure, yeah. Because
that will save them time.
Yeah.
Because then they're 40s on there as well.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, I think she's 36. The funny thing is, when you're a new couple, like when you get married, the first thing people ask is, when you having them then? Hey, when you having your first baby? Now, even though it's not their first child and they're not newlywed, because he's announced it to the whole planet, you're going to get, when you having it? Hey, when you having it? So it's the same. And the thing is, it's his fault because he's done it. It might have just been it might have been just a throwaway joke.
It might have been.
It was just being funny.
Yeah, it might have been.
But now he said it.
Yeah, because people are going to take that as literal. Of course they are.
Oh, I think it's literal. But I'm saying even if it wasn't, if it was, it was just bantering around.
Yeah.
He said it now.
Unless we don't know him that well to know if it was bantering or... I reckon he was serious though.
Yeah, everyone's going to be like,
Exactly. That's one thing you shouldn't tell a married couple. That's one thing I add. The newlywed, do not say that's what you just don't know what people are going through as well. You don't know. Because people have struggles as well to conceive and all that. So it's just best to...
Quite on a serious note, that's a business. So if you are watching this and you might have been like, oh, how many kids should I? Maybe I want a large family, but, the world's got problems, or what will people think? Forget it. Forget them. Do what, do what, if you feel a strong conviction as a partner, you've got a stable relationship, a loving, stable relationship, you've got the means and resources to take care of your family, go for it. Don't let other people's opinions and their judgments prevent you from doing what you feel is right to do.
Sure.
There are children. One child can enter this world and be not loved and be put up into the foster care system, into a children's home. There's a lot of children. The amount of children isn't the issue. It's the context in which they're brought into this world and how people treated them or didn't treat them well.
Yeah.
I think that's the important thing. And, it takes love. I think it should be love that creates life and love that looks after it too. And I think as long as there's a lot of love, looks like got a lot of love in his heart, especially for the industry. Loved his agent. He really loved his agent.
Loves his wife.
Loves his wife, clearly. So a lot of love in the Culkin household. So why not let them expand it? But so for you, if you watching might feel any pressure about how many kids you have, whether people want you to have more, it's none of their business. Less, none of their business. Don't let other people's opinions, one way or the other, swing or sway you. It's between you and your partner. And, we're just blessed to have had any children.
We're always blessed because there are people out there that we even know who struggled for years and to this day don't have kids because they can't have children. So we're very blessed and very honoured to say we've got 3 children.
Yeah. 3 beautiful kids.
And also I just want to add actually that don't feel that you have to have, there is no perfect time to have children.
Well, that's the big second topic.
Yeah, so the second topic we want to talk about is there a perfect time to have children? Do you have to have a big house?
Dun, dun, dun.
Lots of cash in your bank account? I don't think so. Do you?
What do you think so?
Well, I don't think you have to have the perfect setup because if that was the case, it would just be me and you right now, wouldn't it?
Just the 2 of us. Just the 2 of us. Yeah.
All day.
All day. all night.
Too.
Yeah. Just
Been around the world.
Yeah.
Different countries.
Sipping champagne and living the high life.
Your best life.
Oh, actually, have you got a time machine? Molly, it's about your kids. Why don't you go back to the past and not have them? Sorry. Yeah, Back to the Future based on the water.
It's just
Back to the Future. I just imagine, yeah, of course.
imagination.
Running away with me. Just my imagination.
Oh yeah, there is no perfect time to have children, because to be honest, if you're thinking, oh, I have to have the money, I have to have the car, and I have to have this and I have to have that, and then I have the children, or I have to have the perfect job, I have to have I have to be in a certain place in my career, and I've heard people speak like that.
Yeah, what they've been saying.
They've said like, oh, I can't afford to have children. People have said that actually. They
can't afford to have children.
Can't afford to have children, or I've heard also someone say to me, I have to have a certain amount of money first, or I have to be a certain point in my career first, and have fun, and then I'll have children.
Yeah, that's such a problem, and it's so naive, because what I've noticed is there's a lot, and I don't want to sound, it'd be better for you to say it because you're a woman, I'm a man, and I don't get dragged, but I've noticed, particularly with women, like men, we can pretty much have kids until we're way late in the game, and we can just, as long as we can just about be propped up, we can have kids.
Yeah, but for women, unfortunately, there is a cut-off point when you can't have any children no more. I've recently spoken to someone who even said that they're like, I think in their 30s, and they said, oh, they have them when they're going to choose to be mum when they're 40.
It's very sad.
Say what?
Mad.
Okay. That means you'd have to probably pop them up, boop, 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 because your time is kind of running out by the time you're 40. I mean, I had my first daughter at 24. That's a big difference from, I think if you're having a last child at 40, it's not too bad. But to have your first child at 40 is quite late, especially if you wanted to have more children. If you just wanted one, then I guess that's fine, just have one.
I don't think you're having 4 kids.
Because your body's not the same in terms of, it's just not the same at 40 to give birth than it was like at 24, for example.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But I think now women want to have a career, they want to travel the world, they want to have the best job, they want to buy their house maybe. They want just the freedom and the leisure of life. They just don't want to be burdened down with children. But then if you have them late, then you're going to you're going to end up having that anyway. But when you're older.
I think that it's the world has given this false impression, and particularly for women, that they can have everything. Yeah. They can have it all. They can have the career, the accomplishments, then meet the perfect A-list, alpha, whatever the word is, a high value man, when they've lived it all, and then decide to have babies with that high value man, and he would have had no checkered past, he would not have had any children before, or baby mothers or whatever. So it's the happily ever after, but it's a modern version. The old happily ever after would be you'd marry young, you'd meet Prince Charming, and he'd be rich, and you'd go live off every other happily ever after. Now I think the fairy tale is you can live completely for yourself, live it up, become successful, have your own money, your house and everything, then meet a high value man who's of a value, and then have his children when you're like 40 something.
I'm just wondering, why does everything have to be so perfect and in place and neat and everything before a woman decides to have a child? That's what I've always thought. When I've thought about that subject, actually, I was thinking, why does it have to be all put together like that? But I guess it goes back to when you said society puts that pressure on women and actually sends that message out that it's okay, you can have children when you're 40. It's all right to have children older now. And the average age of actually women having children, first child, is actually 40s.
But we know it's a lie because, as you know, you're born with all your eggs as a woman. So your 20s is the perfect time of fertility.
Right in your 20s.
And then you keep on. It's the law of of diminishing returns. Like the more and more as you go on. Again, no shade and obviously no disrespect for any women who have any kind of fertility issues or whatever, and no judgment. This is not a moral question that we're posing. It's more of a practical one, because if you choose to wait until as late as possible to have your family, you do you, boo. If that's your thing, this ain't a judgment here. It's more when there's but be informed, because often there's a sort of a narrative which is not entirely true, that thinks that everyone can do that. And then they find out late in life that, oh, they haven't got much eggs left. They've got to hit the fertility clinic. Oh, they've got all the money in the career, but there's certain men that would have been interested are off the shelf. Oh, I may not be able to have like any kid.
But now you've got like a lot of women who freeze their eggs now. They have their eggs frozen, so that when they feel they're ready to have children or child, then all good to go.
I mean, it's crazy. I mean, there are the moral and even like ethical and even religious arguments that have challenges with that. But even just on a practical level, it's a deception to think that it's that easy. We know people that have gone through fertility challenges, and it's very, very difficult.
Yeah.
And I think it doesn't sit well with me, the idea that people think that they could just turn it on and off, the idea of having life. I think it's a privilege. We were privileged to have children when the good God, we are Christians, so when the good God above blessed us with children, we were like, yes, please, thank you. And we believed he wouldn't give us more than we can bear, we could handle. And the other thing is that we were, in certain respects, we had the ideal structure. You know, we were married, then we had our first child maybe just under 2 years later. We were working, but guess what? You can lose a job. Guess what? You switch careers. Guess what? The cost of living goes up. So you can start off with your ducks in a row.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you can, because it's not just because you may want it to be a certain way, as you're going to impose, is that it might change or could just change like that. Then what? You're still going to have to feed the child, still going to have to find a way, but things always work out. It's fine. You know, things have always worked out for us. It's with 3 children. It's not been like, oh my gosh, we're always fed, always clothed. And they're alive.
Yeah.
You know, they're well, they're healthy.
None of them were left behind. They're all young adults now. Yeah. And I think it is the ideal, the perfectionism and the idea of the right time, the perfect time.
It comes from society, definitely. And I think sometimes the pressures of society and also the pressures from maybe family, sometimes friends, you know, outside influence as well, who you hang out with. So they may have made those choices. So sometimes people impose that onto us and to others as well. But you have to just do what is best for you, really. Because at the end of the day, there's nothing wrong with having a child when it's not. Because when is the best time to have a child?
Yeah.
That's my question. There is never a best time to have a child or children.
Yeah. Because, I mean, it's like no one gives you a manual, does they, about how to raise a child. So it's trial and error. You have your first kid and you just try not to drop them.
Yeah.
Or starve them and stuff like that. So it's all figuring out, and
you learn as you go.
And the eldest is always like, "Oh, you didn't treat me like that." Because you were the experiment, dear.
Absolutely.
We didn't know what we were doing. You know, you
just didn't know what we were doing.
Yeah,
I don't know. I remember asking about calling my auntie. Oh my gosh, how much milk should I? When with the situation at the midwife, I had to give her some top up with formula, and I don't even know how much milk to put in the bottle.
Yeah,
it's like, what do I do?
Yeah.
And then once you got to the second and the third, the second was like...
Drop him all the time.
Awful.
Third one, on his head.
No, she didn't want no breast milk, did she? The second one. And the third and the first.
Yeah.
You know?
Very bougie.
Yeah.
Bougie baby. I don't want no natural milk. Give me the cow's finest. On the double.
The cow's milk that oh,
yeah. She was one chubby baby, a chubba bubba.
That formula milk.
I would say to anybody who is thinking they have this idealistic dream of how it will be the perfect situation, the perfect partner, the perfect age, the perfect career, the perfect money in the bank, the perfect house. I don't want to be a big long pin that bursts your bubble, but a reality check. There is no perfect time. We're living in, we could be on the cusp of World War III, WW3. What's going on in the world, stuff with Putin in Russia and Ukraine and Trump. We're the most least political people, trust me, you can find. But we watch some news, and we're not living in fear, like, living with a bunker. Oh, in a tin bunker. But nothing is secure and predictable. So why postpone your life, happiness? You meet someone right now and you can start a life with them, and then you have children together. They're a blessing. If you delay good things in your life because of some prescribed, either from the movies or society, view of when the perfect time is,
I've even heard someone say
life and living.
I remember someone even said years ago when the children was, or before the second or third was born, they said, "Oh, it's not good to have children because the world is such a
evil place."
Those sort of thing. You think
weird.
That means no one would have kids, and if
I'm like, have they heard of the Dark Ages? Like when it was massive, the world was, people were getting massacred for nothing. Have they heard of World War I and II? When the whole world was at war and the atom bomb was dropped in Japan. Like, the idea that this is the darkest the world has ever been is so idiotic in terms of a basic understanding of history. I mean,
yes.
I don't have babies here. It's like crazy. It's nuts. So
where people get all these things on, that's what I was saying earlier, is that people impose their ideals on people, their thoughts on people, and that unfortunately there are people that take that and run with that, and they're like, yeah, actually I think they're right. I don't think I'll have kids, actually.
Yeah.
The world is such an evil place.
Yeah.
I mean, there are a lot of evils in the world, but it doesn't mean you don't have children, but bring children into it.
Maybe you're the parent of a future John Connor who will come and bring enlightenment against the machines and bring humanity to its next stage of salvation. I'm joking, I'm messing around. Always funny that John Connor is like JC, like Jesus Christ.
Oh yeah.
So he kind of like, he's a James Cameron savior, Jesus model. Yeah, so that's that. That's the world's put to rights.
Yeah.
Make love, be love, have as many babies as you want.
Exactly.
Join.
We're not going to get in your way.
We're not going to get in the way. We don't get anyway.
No,
we want to be nowhere near.
No, that. Don't say that. Literally.
Yeah, I like it.
That came out a bit wrong.
Yeah, a little bit wrong. A little bit wrong. Yeah, a little bit wrong. A little bit wrong. I don't want anywhere near your.
Yeah.
Anyone watching, just close the door. We're not going to be lurking and trying to. It's getting worse. Yeah, right. Yeah. So yeah, have your kids. Maybe live your life as long as you're living in a consenting, loving relationship where you're supportive and being supported, and a child would be a blessing. If not, then maybe reconsider. Maybe think, maybe it's not the right time. There are legitimate times that might not be good. It might be an unhealthy situation, unhealthy relationship. You're not able, you've got issues that you need to take care of, business of your own life, and if you feel like, for example, I want to be loved, listen, as much as it's lovely to have a child and you feel a bond, they're inherently selfish, right? You shouldn't have a kid to make up for something you're missing, because you actually need to put yourself last when you're looking after kids, especially.
You got to be an unselfish person to have children, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't necessarily say I had to do a lot of inner work.
Yeah.
I wasn't necessarily a clean, unselfish person. But over time,
it's time. You did a good job.
When it comes to my kids, I do, I learn to be unselfish.
And I must say, you did an amazing job, and you still are as a mum.
Oh,
a fantastic job.
Very kind. And it's in the UK in a few years, so thank you for
that. An amazing job. Wouldn't have done it with anybody else. And
18 years.
And even the imperfect the imperfect times and were lessons. They're building blocks. I wouldn't change for the world. Whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Absolutely.
But anyway, we're going to get out of here. I'm T.
I'm Jay.
And we are taking over the world of relationships, personal development, and love, romance, and family, and all those good things that need to be stronger. We personally believe that if you get that right, you can face any mountain,
Absolutely. When it comes
any enemy, and take over any world.
When it comes to family, family is as we said earlier, family is the powerhouse of the community, help to bring wealth and structure and to be a blessing as well to others and the world.
Yeah. So if we can share our triumphs and our epic screw ups, yeah, epic screw ups over the 2 decades and change of us being married, us being parents, us being relationships, us working on ourselves whilst being married, because that's an important one. Personal development, that you sometimes look to the other person to be the solution to your inner problems and your emotional challenges, and you realize, oh, actually, they're just trying to figure it all out themselves. And they're not the solution to your inner angst and pain or your happiness even. You got to do the work yourself, and then as well work together.
You got to pave the way for yourself. You can't lean on the other person to sort your baggage out.
Yeah.
You know, you got to do you and work on yourself. Because I think if you put that pressure on the other person and they've got to sort themselves as it is, that's a bit like weighing them down.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And they're looking at you like, I've got to sort my thing out, you know.
I got my issues.
I've got my issues right now, so don't come to me for that. But, you know, as a couple, you work together, obviously, you come back as a team and you just speak together. Communication is always the key. You work through things. Without communication, you don't talk things through.
They get solved.
They get solved, and then you end up being like...
Anyway, absolutely.
Yeah.
What she said. Anyway, until next time, keep loving, keep living, and keep watching. Subscribe. That's right. Subscribe to that. Okay, guys.
Bye.